Two paychecks land on the same Friday. $2,847 after taxes. Both of you, same company, same title, same year of graduation. You started the same week 10 years ago. Neither of you knows yet that this is the last year the numbers will look anything alike. Level 1, Month 1, age 24. Path A, the saver. Your first paycheck clears and you move $300 into a savings account before you look at anything else. You don't feel it leave. That's the point. You set up the transfer for the day after payday, automatic, forever, and close the app. You eat at home 5 nights a week. Not from discipline, from arithmetic. You know exactly what a grocery run costs versus what a delivery app charges in fees alone. And the gap between those two numbers is the first real lesson you learn about money that nobody taught you in school. Path B, the spender. Your first paycheck clears and you take yourself out to celebrate. A new job deserves a new job dinner, you tell yourself, and the logic feels sound in the moment. $86 at a restaurant with a view. You put it on a card you've had since college, the one with a $2,000 limit you've never come close to touching. You sign a lease on a 1-bedroom instead of splitting a 2-bedroom with a stranger from a listing site. $1,450 a month instead of $780. You tell yourself the privacy is worth it. It probably is. You don't run the 12-month math on what the difference actually costs, because running that math would mean admitting there's a difference to run math on. The first rule, at month 1, the gap between two people is invisible. It's also already open. Level 2, year 2, age 25. Path A, you get a $2,400 raise. You don't upgrade anything. You increase the automatic transfer by $150 and let the rest disappear into groceries and gas the same way it always has. Your savings account crosses $8,000. You don't tell anyone. There's no one to tell who would understand what $8,000 means to someone who's been doing this quietly for 2 years. You open a Roth IRA because a coworker mentioned it in passing, the way people mention things they assume everyone already knows. You contribute $2,200 over the year. You don't fully understand the fund you bought. You buy it anyway, because leaving the money in cash finally feels like a decision instead of a default. Path B. You get the same $2,400 raise. You upgrade the apartment's furniture. A couch. $1,600. Financed at 0 interest for 12 months because the salesperson made it sound like free money. It isn't free money. You don't read the clause about what happens after month 12. You find out later. Your credit card balance, which started at $0, now sits at $2,100. You've been paying the minimum, which feels responsible in the moment it happens and feels like nothing in the 6 months it takes to notice the balance isn't actually moving. You take a trip to Cancun with 3 friends, $1,900 on the same card. You tell yourself you'll pay it down fast once you're back. You don't, not because you're careless, but because the next thing always arrives before the last thing is finished. The second rule, year 2 is where the raise reveals who each of you already was. Level 3, year 3, age 26. Path A. Your emergency fund hits $12,000, 3 months of expenses, fully covered. You stop adding to it and redirect everything above that line into a taxable brokerage account. The market dips 14% within your first 6 months of investing. You watch the number fall on paper. You don't touch it. Not from courage, from understanding. You read enough to know the drop is the toll, not the destination. Path B. Your car needs $2,200 in unexpected repairs. You don't have $2,200 liquid. You put it on the card that's already carrying a balance from Cancun and the couch. The balance crosses $5,800. The minimum payment climbs to $174 a month, which is $174 a month that used to go somewhere else and now just goes toward interest that compounds whether you're paying attention to it or not. You get a small raise, $1,800 annually. It doesn't reach your savings account. It reaches your baseline. A slightly nicer grocery order, a slightly more frequent takeout habit, small enough individually that none of it feels like a decision, together large enough that the raise is already spent before it technically arrives. The third rule. At year 3, one of you is compounding money and the other is compounding interest, and both feel equally invisible from the inside. Level 4, year 4, age 27. Path A. You've been contributing $400 a month to your brokerage account for 2 years straight, automated, untouched. The balance crosses $22,000, not from one big decision, but from 48 small ones you barely remember making individually. A friend from college, not Path B, someone else, asks to borrow $500 for a rent gap. You lend it without hesitation. You can afford the risk that it might not come back, because the $500 sitting in your account is genuinely discretionary now, in a way money hasn't been for most of your adult life. Path B. Your credit card debt across 2 cards now totals $9,400. You consolidate it into a personal loan at 12.9% APR, which lowers the monthly payment and feels like relief for about 6 weeks before you notice you're still spending the same way you always have, just with a new source of debt sitting underneath the old one you already cleared. You get invited to a wedding 2 states away, $1,100 for flights, hotel, and the gift. You go, because not going feels like admitting something out loud that you're not ready to say. You put it on the card you just consolidated away from. The cycle isn't dramatic. It's just quiet and recurring, the same shape every time. The fourth rule, year 4, is where the gap stops being about willpower and starts being about which system each of you is standing inside. Level 5, year 5, age 28. Path A. Your combined savings, investments, and emergency fund cross $41,000. You run a projection for the first time. What this becomes in 20 more years at historical average returns if you simply don't stop. The number that comes out doesn't feel real yet. You check the math twice. It's still true either way. You buy a reliable used car in cash, $14,000. No loan, no payment, no monthly reminder that you owe anyone anything. The freedom isn't in the car. It's in never having to think about the car again after the transaction closes. Path B. Your net worth,